U.S.
Brad Clapper of AP.
Thank you. I have a question for each of you as well. First, Mr. Foreign Secretary, I have to follow up on my colleague's question because you didn't quite answer it. You've accused the current U.S. President, Barack Obama, of harboring a part Kenyan's, quote, ancestral dislike for the British Empire, unquote, while claiming, I think untruthfully at the time, that he didn't want a Churchill bust in the White House. You've described a possible future U.S. President, Hillary Clinton, as someone with, quote, dyed blonde hair and pouty lips and a steely blue stare, like a sadistic nurse in a mental hospital, unquote. You've also likened her to Lady Macbeth. Do you take these comments back, or do you want to take them with you into your new job as some sort of indicator of the type of diplomacy you will practice? And then one for the Secretary of State. Given that Mr. Johnson led a campaign that your government viewed pretty universally as detrimental to UK, EU, and even US interests, what confidence do you have that as Foreign Secretary, Mr. Johnson will represent the interests of anyone but himself? Is the Mr. Johnson you saw during the referendum campaign what the UK, EU, and US needs right now at a time of so many challenges?
Okay, you want me to go first?
You want to go? Well, just thank you for giving me an opportunity really to repeat a point that I made earlier on. I'm afraid that there is such a rich thesaurus now of things that I've said that have been one way or another, through what alchemy I do not know, somehow misconstrued, that it would really take me too long to engage in a full global itinerary of apology to all concerned. And I think most people who read these things in their proper context can see exactly what was intended, and indeed I find that virtually everybody I've met so far in this job understands that very well, particularly on the international scene. And we have some very serious issues before us today. We have an unfolding humanitarian crisis in Syria, which, as I said earlier on, is getting worse and worse. We have to come up with some answers there. We have real problems in Yemen, which are currently intractable, and we have a burgeoning crisis in Egypt. Those, to my mind, are far more important than any obiter dicta that you may disinter from 30 years of journalism.